And we all know how important culture is. It's the foundation to everything. And the reason we've been so successful at TrackPhone is we prioritize that number one under Eduardo's leadership. And again, I'm super grateful for our leadership position that has happened organically, right? When you think about the tiles in the team's background, think about how pervasive that is in the organization. And we didn't have to ask. Everybody just rallied around it because we know how important. It's not just about teams' backgrounds, it's about the messages and the words and our alignment on these beliefs. And I'm so happy, and I hope everyone, I think we all do see, this is not about working in the office, right? This is about being together, reestablishing connections if we may have lost them over the virtual time, and getting to know each other personally, right? Because it's about how we support each other, right? Stronger together, togetherness. That's how we overcome. That's how we deliver world-class results when we were TrackPhone under America Mobile. That's how we got to a strategic sale of a great asset. By the way, the number one asset is the people in this room and collectively at TrackPhone, right? And now we've got 2.0. Now we've got harnessing the power of Verizon, and that comes with challenges, right? Has it been easy? I'll say it has not been easy. I've been stretched beyond what I thought I could be stretched. But you know what? I grew, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to be able to do that. And I would encourage you to have that kind of mindset as we address challenges, because these are not the end of the challenges, right? But we do see a happy place, right? And you guys have heard me talk about realism and optimism. Realism, addressing transparently issues and challenges, being upfront with them. When it's not ideal, we say it's not ideal. Optimism, a compelling vision of the future that we all rally around, and as Trackies, we take the hill, right? We take the hill. And we do it, why? Coverage and access for all, right? That inspires me every time I just say the phrase, much less watch the video, yeah? So, super happy to be here. We heard you. This is our second quarterly event. I'm gonna make a bold prediction. I think we hit the mark, okay? But we want your feedback, because we'll continue to evolve and iterate as we have these quarterly events, yeah? So we've got an action-packed agenda. We've got about 25-ish minutes with Eduardo. We're gonna do like a coffee fireside chat. Any question is a fair question. He likes the tough ones, yeah? And I like the tough ones. So grateful to have him here for a little bit. Then I'm gonna talk a little bit more about business update, some recognition, and what we have to look forward to in the back half of the year, okay? And then you guys get to have some fun, right? And I think that's why we're here, is collaborate, have fun. So, without further ado then, welcome Eduardo.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for the invitation, Jay.
You're welcome.
But I would be remiss if I don't talk about a tile.
Okay.
And you were talking about what inspires us. And this tile right here, when we work as a team, we can connect the world. It's just so inspiring to me, and it speaks to what you were saying about coverage and access for all, how we impact individuals, communities, and our country in such a profound way. So thank you for the invitation. Honored to be here, and very happy to engage in a conversation and hopefully in some questions, which I think is more of the juicy
nice,
right?
Nice. And I'm going to open it up with one, and it's a conversation that Eduardo and I had, and he really helped me shape my mindset, and I want you guys to hear that, because I think it's very valuable. So, Eduardo, when we face challenges and we face adversity, friction with Verizon, the integration, there's been challenges around expectations and some things we thought were going to happen and that didn't happen, and there's been some tough times for all of us as Trackies. And there's been challenges that you've had personally. How do you think about those challenges? How do you deal with them, and what kind of mindset do you have when you approach them?
I think at the end of the day is really about our meaning and our purpose. I think that we have such a tremendous opportunity to make a difference, and I think that overarching vision needs to be driving You talked about optimism and realism. I think it's really about both. It's about having an optimist view about the future, but a realistic view about what are the things and the challenges that you need to tackle. And that's where culture comes in. I mean, to me, culture doesn't solve a particular problem. Culture is there to help us work together to solve all problems. It's really about the how we show up together for ourselves, for our teammates, and for our customers. And so when I think about flourishing and the flourishing aspect that we've been talking about as part of this evolution of our culture, and I think about these challenges, I think the question is how this flourishing vision can help me navigate the challenges I have in front of me today. Well, and by the way, I heard someone say it, and it couldn't be more true. I mean, we've had challenges in the past.
Exactly.
We have challenges today, and we're going to have challenges next year and the years afterwards. I mean, that's what business is all about, is solving problems, solving challenges, hopefully for our customers and our team members. And so we shouldn't shy away from that. We should embrace them. The question is, how do we show up to do that?
Yes.
And I would pick this team and our overall track phone team any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yes, yes.
So
I want to build on something Eduardo said, and I look at the title, be comfortable in the uncomfortable, right? And that's how we grow. And so I'll tell you, for me personally, as I look at all the great things about the new relationship and the bigger Verizon family, there's a lot that I see as an incredible opportunity, but there's a lot that makes me uncomfortable, right? And you've heard me say this before, I think we all should look for those opportunities that make us uncomfortable, lean into those, because that's how we become better humans, better professionals, and that's really an add-on to what Eduardo was talking about when we think about what lies ahead. What lies ahead is an optimistic place. Is the hill going to be high to get there? Yeah. Are we cut out for it? Absolutely. The trackies can do it, no question. All right, Giselle, what would you like to say?
all right, so we have some questions.
So feel free. Morning all.
No.
Hello.
Yeah.
Morning. So feel free. Can't read the question though. Feel free to ask any questions and raise your hand and we can pass the mic around. But I have a question for you, Eduardo. What are you most looking forward to for Q3 and what headwinds do you see in the back half of the year?
You said Q3 and what?
Headwinds.
Headwinds in the back half of the year.
You know, it's been a tough start of the year. You know, and in particular when we think about we had to integrate at the same time that we have consumer shifts, market change in dynamics, when we see the pre to post and migrations. But at the same time, there is a shifting in consumer expectations given the current economic environment. So when I think of us going forward in Q3 and to Q4 is how do we show up for customers when they're going to need us the most? We couldn't be in a better place. We had a huge supply challenge for probably about 18 months, huge supply challenge. And in particular for those customers that need us the most, because OEM manufacturers were using their scarce chipsets to sell higher end devices. And so the low end of the spectrum really got depleted. Well, good news is now we're back in stock. We're in better position than we've been in the last 18 months. And I'm thankful for that because that allows us to be able to deliver for those customers when they need it the most, which I believe is going to happen in the second half of the year. So to me, that is one thing that we need to be looking for. I'm also excited about how we're bringing to life this acquisition and this merging of TracFone and Verizon in 3 different streams that I know all of you are deeply involved. One of them, migrations. And why is important migrations? Because we're getting customers. The only way to get customers to enjoy and to get them closer to us is through our own network. Remember, I always said, it's not that they acquired us, we acquired the network. But in order for that to become true, we need the customers that are on that network to be on that network. And then we're going to be able to bring technology, we're going to be able to bring economies of, owner economics and economies of scale closer to those customers and to the benefits. And so migrations is a key project. Second one, total by Verizon. Every one of you, I mean, this is probably the biggest initiative that TracFone has ever faced. And I love the way that we're all, delivering on it, and we're ready to drive to the market as the first proof point of our integration with Verizon. Will be told by Verizon, and then a very, very fast follow with fixed wireless access on Straight Talk that I know all of you are also very, very deeply involved, which again is how do we bring technology, how do we bring value to the customer on our network, which is, quite frankly, the best network in the US. And so I think those three initiatives are key. And then when I think of the compliance layer that I know also all of you are working on, to make sure that we bring our compliance posture on in different views, whether it's the acquisition requirements from the regulators, Lifeline, IT security, and information security. I think that's something that we also have to make sure that we deliver on, because that's fundamental for us to be able to drive forward our purpose of coverage and access for all. Someone, I remember some time ago, asked me, well, are we going to focus on compliance, or are we going to focus on the customer? And I go, for sure we need to focus on the customer, but the question is, we need to do compliance to exist, and then be able to serve our customers. So it's not one or the other, it's one that enables us to do the deeper, more important part, which is serving our customers. So I don't know if I diverge too much, Giselle. When I think of Q3, I mean, we went through PI planning. I'm so excited when I see the showcasing and the PI planning and all the energy that our teams bring through. So I think we have a very interesting Q3 ahead of us. I think there are still headwinds. We're still not picking up the volumes the way we should, or the way we want. So we need to continue driving momentum into the business, and I know all the teams are focused on that, and finding opportunities for us to leverage more of what Verizon has to offer. So
Excellent.
I'll leave it at that. I hope I answered, Giselle. Went a little over, but.
Thank you, Eduardo. Again, so just raise your hand if you want to ask a question in the room, okay?
Yeah,
Jose?
there we go. Nice.
Bom dia, José.
Bom dia. So, one thing that called attention during the restructuring is about Visible, and that they acquired subscribers during the Q2, Q1 of this year. Is there any lesson that we learned from them that we can use at TracFone?
Good question.
It's a great question, and I will tell you that the first and most important thing we always have to remember is humility and empathy. And I love your question because it's all about learning. That's about the journey. It's what did we learn? What can we learn? I think Visible is in a very different space, given that they are a fully online, fully digital experience. I think it's also easier to grow when you have a small base, to be honest. And so when you have a small base, customers that you add versus customers that would naturally churn from your base gives you an opportunity for growth. I think they're doing a good job. Certainly they're doing a great job, and I'm sure there's a ton of opportunities for us to learn. I think this new CRO role that we announced last week, is really there to help us understand and maximize the opportunity on the go-to-market. So we've always talked about independently operated but coordinated go-to-market. To me, the CRO role is really how do we bring the coordinated go-to-market to the next level, and then be able to say, okay, this is working here, how can I apply it there? How can I focus resources where the customer's behavior is shifting? We know it's shifting. That's the whole point with Told by Verizon and the store rollout that we are planning. And so I think it's leveraging those opportunities and learning from them that is going to make us a lot more powerful than we already are. So coming back to your question, I think there's much to learn. I wouldn't be able to tell you a particular thing at this point that I would say we need to bring in. But I'm sure that there's a ton of learnings that we're going to be able to share as our marketing teams get more and more involved together.
Thank you.
Morning, Eduardo.
Hey,
How are you?
all right, you?
So basically, thanks for giving the opportunity where, we all come in, like we have been talking over the team and all that, and I'm really kind of excited and meet everyone in face to face today. So when I remember, like when you started with TracFone, like when we were there, so we were kind of a self-managed entity, right? So now we are part of Verizon, okay? But still I feel that, we have a kind of unique culture, which even Verizon is lacking, right? You understand the way we work and all that. Now my other question is basically like, where do we see another 5 years going forward, right? Okay, so we started Total by Verizon, first like a enterprise level project, we have fixed wireless, we have other coming, simple mobile on that. So if you look from our culture perspective, if you look from our team perspective, and I'm not talking of revenue figure as such, like looking from complete employee perspective, like as I'm a part of team member, I'm proud to be a team member. Where do we see ourselves in another 5 years in kind of Verizon as such?
I think it's a great question, and I think that everything, any human endeavor evolves, is alive. I mean, just think about what TracFone was 25 years ago, what TracFone was 6 years ago, 5 years ago, and who we are today. And so I think it's going to be an evolving process. I think that our culture and the aspiration, I would call it, of Verizon's culture is very aligned. We're in different stages, but I think that the alignment of vision is there. And so when I think of 5 years, I do think of organizations that are more closely aligned in terms of the culture and the way we work. And I also think of a more coordinated strategy when you think about the market, postpaid, prepaid. Those lines are going to blur, and therefore what we see today as very clear markets are going to require different sets of solutions and needs, and that's going to require us to probably have a different shape, a different way of attacking things. I don't know. I mean, when I think of 5 years at the rate of change, I think it's like probably 100 years ago is probably 50 years. I mean, it's just the rate of change is so high that it's hard to imagine, but I'm sure it's going to be different. I'm sure it's going to be more aligned in terms of cultural aspirations and behaviors than what we see today. When we look at us and our culture versus them and their culture, I think it's going to be a lot more aligned, and I think it's going to be more leveraged. So what do I mean by that? How do we take advantage of the things they do well? How do they take advantage of things that we do well? So my expectation would be that in 5 years, those things are closer together than they are today. And that we're not looking at each other a little bit like, what are they doing or what are we doing? But it's really about the collective. What are we together as this great organization, which we are? I mean, Verizon is probably the top telecom company in the world. That we are. How do we leverage each other to be able to serve our customers?
And I would just add, we've talked about in our previous town halls, one of our personal aspirations, which is for this group to have a meaningful impact on accelerating their culture transformation. Manal is very interested in our agility and very interested in the results we were able to achieve. I think most of you know we had a conversation as part of our Q1 QBR with her. Andreas was there and others were there in the room, and she's very interested in applying and expanding that way of working into Verizon. And so if I said we're sitting here 5 years from now, we've had an impact, a meaningful impact on their culture transformation while continuing to evolve and expand ours, because we know we're not perfect. We still have learnings, we still have progression to do. Yeah?
There's a question in the back
Oh,
over
sorry,
here.
Giselle. Yep,
Sorry, and I know Eduardo has to leave very soon.
One of the things that impacts culture is the ability to get out in the community, the ability to, whether it be volunteering in the community, whether it be setting up new things in the community. And since the integration, we've been heavily focused on getting the work out the door. I mean, that's been the drive, get the work out the door, get the work out the door, and very much with TPB, get the work out the door. We've kind of stopped some of that community stuff. And I think when you talk about the culture, and one of the things that made TrackPhone special is we also got out in the community. I feel like since the integration, we've lost some of that. We need to get back to that place. So, and if you look at Verizon, they're very involved in the community and very much out there. And so how can we get back to that?
Can everybody hear the question? All right, so the question was about community engagement, and I'll paraphrase. We've lost a little bit of it with our focus on all the Verizon integration activities, primarily TBV. How do we get back to that? Because it's really a critical part of coverage and access for all.
I think it's a good question, and I think that when we look at the integration, it kind of blurs or we forget that we're coming out of 2 years of working from home. So to me, the first order of business when I think of community is this community. And I think that we need to make sure that as a TrackPhone community, we get back to building those relationships. Because 2 years, I mean, think about it. Remember, you said March 16th is the day I walked out the door, a little bit like the captain in the ship, closed the door and left. That was in March 16th of 2020. So I think we need to rebuild that, and I think that we need to take advantage. I love the message of creating moments that matter for us to collaborate and be together. And I think that to me is priority number one. When I think of community impact, I think Verizon has a lot of very interesting platforms that we should take advantage of. The ORGs, as they call them, like our interest groups. And they're very deep in the community. In fact, they've been talking about, and I've received emails about, you want to be a volunteer. How do you want to get involved? And so my invitation is, when I think of leveraging, we need to leverage that. I mean, we need to leverage all of those different actions to be able to have an impact in the community. Last week, we had a meeting with the people on the CSR, on the corporate social responsibility front for Verizon. And it was such an interesting conversation about some of the things they do. They wanted to understand some of the things we do, in particular Lifeline. Lifeline has a huge impact in communities, and so how do we supercharge our ability to impact those communities in a positive way through what we do every day. But I would go back to, for me, job number one is getting this community to reconnect. And I think that we have this beautiful facility, we need to leverage it. And I thank you all for being here, because this is part of building community. So.
Excellent.
Thank you.
We'll do two more.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be able, and I apologize for that, but I'm gonna have to be able to take one more question. Yes?
Hello, Eduardo. Hello, Jay. I just wanted to ask a question. So basically, we've all heard inflation has been going up. It's harder as a business to borrow money. But I think with the recent purchase of Verizon, how are we going to take advantage of that prepaid market and basically attack maybe expand in our company?
I love attack, expand, grow,
Win.
impact customers, and win in the marketplace. You know, you're absolutely right. And that's why I tell the teams is we are in a critical moment. We've been in a situation for 18 months where we didn't have the devices that customers need them, when they needed them, where they needed them. And let me tell you what, I mean, I applaud our supply chain team, our demand planning team, our sales team, because I've been able to juggle whatever we had available to be able to keep serving our customers. But now that situation has turned. We are in the best in-stock position in our channels that we've ever been in 18 months. And so now what we need is to be able to execute on that, so when customers show up, and they will show up, because they're gonna need our services, the control that we give them, the no contract space, prepaid value proposition that we're clearly leaders on, we should be there for them. So I think second half is going to be crucial. I'm already seeing a trend and change in July, just because of the fact that we're there. We've launched probably 10 or 12 different promotional rollbacks on handsets, the most aggressive ones we've had, because we want to start being there for our customers in this tough environment. And TracFone has always been there for customers in tough economic environments, and this should not be an exception. So, a great question, and I totally agree. Thank you.
Thank you for
I'm
coming.
gonna have to go. I would love having a chance to talk. So
Thank you for coming.
I wish you a great rest of the day. Take advantage, make connections. Thank you, Julie. Make connections, make community. This is what makes us strong. I want to thank you for what you do every day. I want to echo what you said. It has not been easy for any of us, and I raise my hand as well, but we're growing from it. We're getting stronger from it, and I just applaud the level of commitment and passion and enthusiasm you bring every day to the table to bring coverage and access for all forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so we have about 15 minutes. So I'm thinking I skip business update. All right, cool. So recognition, yeah? All right, so I didn't talk about the name of the event in the beginning. It's Celebrate Now, okay? Celebrate Now, and Hari, I can't take credit for that, it's Hari's. But it's all amazing, and it fits the moment so well. Celebrate Now has two dimensions. One, we've accomplished tons, new capabilities being delivered for our business at scale, faster than we ever have, with all the Verizon compliance and other work on top of it. So successful deployment of new capabilities that are critical to our customers. That's the first meaning. Second meaning, we've made major progress on significant milestones for the three things that you heard Eduardo talk about, right? TBV, FWA, straight talk multi-line, all of those are significant. Lifeline, ACP, like we have delivered some, the cloud, and even though we're not fully in the cloud yet, about 50% I think or so, JJ, right? So Q3 is the time period where we will be fully in the cloud. So the second part is recognizing the accomplishments and achievements, even though we are not done. That's why it's Celebrate Now. And the hope that I have is through this event and the engagement, fun, exciting times we have, it's going to re-energize us to take the third and fourth quarters. There's no more important time for TracFone in its history, and it's got a decorated history, right? I can only claim 4 years of it, but a decorated history over 25 years, no more important than right now. We're launching a flanker brand for Verizon, the best telco in the planet, right? Not just in the US, on the planet. We're gonna have 1,600 stores in 2024, this is confidential. 1,600 stores in 2024, 1,600 stores in 2023, 3,000 stores in 2024. That's the goal, right? And so you'll be driving around Total by Verizon, Total by Verizon. You know where they're going to be? Right next to Metro and Cricket. So that's the meaning of What was that? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're going to win. We're going to compete and win, just like Eduardo said. So have fun. That's the celebration part. There'll be recognition also in other parts. I'm not going to kind of go into details, but I wanted to call out the macro recognition of every single individual in this room working unbelievably hard under enormous demand in terms of amount of work. And every single person not only has delivered for our customers and our business, but we continue to put culture at the top and we continue to lead. And it's hard. And I just wanted to say thank you. All right? So that's recognition. So now we have the back half, right? And we call it, you've probably heard the phrase holistic view, right? So one of the things that we are working hard on that you'll see more about is everything that's happening in Q3 and Q4. You heard Eduardo mention it, we've talked about it often. TBV alone is the most massive enterprise-wide project we've ever done. Now when you add on FWA, you add on cloud, you add on, right, it becomes even bigger, right? And the impact is even greater, which excites me. I'm not afraid of the challenge, and I know you're not either, right? We have an opportunity to transform this business again. We did it the first time from 18 to 21 and orchestrated the strategic sale. Now we have an opportunity to do it again. And I can't underestimate our ability to impact that. And my ask is, as you're engaging with your teams and looking at everything that needs to happen, remember this is a safe environment. I think we've demonstrated that time and time again. And so if you see concerns, if you see risks, raise your hand and we can deal with them. The downside would be if we don't talk about them, we don't deal with them, and then we get hit by them, that would not be a good outcome. So safe environment, please raise your hands. And just as an illustration of this, we've moved releases a lot lately, right? Has anybody had any discussion about that's a bad thing? No. Not that I know of. If you have, please let me know. Obviously, we don't like moving the schedules, but we would like a lot worse if we introduce poor quality and impact our customers. So that's just an example of the empowerment that this team has, and we're going to listen. Trust us, we're going to listen, so raise your hand, yeah? Holistic view, really important. Technology risk and business risk. We've tried to space out the deliveries from a technology perspective so that we can manage it. On the business side, they're going through massive change. A national launch of fixed wireless access in Walmart, 3,000 stores, right, all at the same time. Think about what they got to do. They got to pull the teal out, Total Wireless. They got to put the red in. Inventory, packaging, physical cards, virtual cards. I mean, the business activities. And then, oh, by the way, they got to deploy stores for TBV, right? And they still have to support everything else that is going on day to day. So critically important that we all really focus on that holistic view and understand what it means to us. And then our EPO partners in particularly help coach our business on how to really adopt and deploy these capabilities. Because we can build the greatest tech without the business able to execute and adopt and deploy, the value prop's not there. And so we've got great business partners. They don't always think as thoroughly as this team does, particularly the EPO around risk. So please help them, all right? What else was on the agenda, Giselle? Word cloud. Got it. So this is an example of the holistic view. And I'm not going to go through details, but you just look at the words and look at everything that is happening, right? And oh, by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the 30% year-over-year reduction in customers impacted while all this stuff's going on. And everybody contributes to that, but IT ops, compute and run, a special thank you. You guys are our silent heroes, and we love what you do, yeah? Developing QA always get all the spotlight, EPO gets all the spotlight, so you guys get some thumbs up. So you'll see more of this, it'll be laid out differently, but this is just an example. The takeaway is, there's a lot going on, right? Are we up for the challenge? Yeah? We're up for the challenge, good. All right, what else did I need to cover? Yes?
One real quick comment.
Give him a mic.
I can speak up.
All right, go ahead.
I just noticed that the way that World Cloud was put together was we have about 480 initiatives in the holistic view. We pumped them in. I just noticed, look at who's in the middle, who's large. Are we working on the right stuff? Customer, CX, right? We are working on the right stuff, so that was really interesting. Converse, CX, yep. I just noticed that.
Yeah, agree. ACP, everything on this list is critical and strategic, and you've heard Eduardo refer to us as the glue, right? The glue that holds everything together. That's his words, not mine. I like them, of course, right? And so what I think about is the Gorilla Glue you see in the store, we've got that on steroids. You need a crowbar to freaking get the glue off of this that we put on, right? And so us being the glue, it's like you can't get more integral to the company's strategy than the work we're doing. And my hope is that every single individual can connect to something that we are doing either on this Word Cloud or something that you're doing day to day that directly enables our growth targets and most importantly, our customers and our purpose. Coverage and access for all, customer, employee, and all of our work should be laddering up to those things, and you should see it in your individual activities every day. And if you don't, let's have a conversation, yeah?